What is up, everybody, and welcome into the Losers Lounge.
Wah, wah.
Right. All right, shake it out. Saturday night, long series, but game one goes to Portland. A lot to get to, man. A lot to get to. These games, it's funny because like a regular season game, we break it down, we get through the little details, but everything has this, like, there's not a weight to it.
Nope.
Tonight, we're going to dissect every little detail and talk about it. There was a lot that was going on. But first, we're presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up. Win money with us. Hey, a silver lining, we won money tonight.
I hit all my bets.
I haven't even checked, but I know I hit the big ones, the one I put a lot of units on. So at least there's that. Jokic, three-pointers, told you it was a lock. Happened in about halfway through the second quarter. Let me introduce the panel real quick. Brendan Vogt.
Hey, fellas. How we doing? Tough start. It's not over, though.
Man, dude, the playoffs, this is what's great about sports, though, man. Just like the emotions all over the place. I got D-Line over here.
This is what we do. We lose the first game of every series.
We do.
That's what we do.
This is what we do. Over here, I got Superstar Dev.
The game was so fun. It was good to play
Fun though,
meaningful basketball.
Yeah.
It sucks that it ended the way that it did, but we're here, and we're glad that you guys are here.
Yeah. So, first off, the DNVR bar tonight, you know, it's been a long 434 days since we first opened this bar, and we're able to have it, you know, no limitations, no anything. So, I know last night, the Colorado Avalanche had Game 3. Friday night, it was packed similar to what it was tonight. First time I got to see it, and I got to say, like, from a personal perspective, and like it means a lot to be able to pack. Tonight was, I'm telling you, probably louder than Ball Arena was. Just in terms of like people cheering nonstop. It was packed. There's nowhere to sit. It was standing room. The atmosphere here was great until it became a funeral.
I got offered a playoff ticket earlier today, and I said no.
He said no, thank you.
Dude, I knew what it was going to be like here.
One thing I'll say is hot.
Very hot. Human beings are little furnaces, and when you put them all together,
they are, man.
It's hot, brother.
But it's a good time. Highly encourage you. Monday night's the next game. They're going to be, if you don't have tickets to the game, first I'd say if you're a diehard fan, you're going to get loud. Go to the arena. Okay. Still, as much as I love my bar, go to the arena. If you're not going to the arena, come to the bar. You'll have a good time. Denver Nuggets drop 123-109. I would say, for me, the takeaway was that Portland, I thought, had it very easy on the offensive end tonight. And it wasn't because guys weren't trying hard. There was great defensive effort. But it just felt like they could get to their spots. And yes, they shot the leather off of the ball. But I think that they only ran a little bit hot from three because they were getting great looks.
That's what's scary. You could sit here and say, okay, bad shot luck game, poor shot luck game. But it was a poor process game. Portland got whatever they wanted. And they have shooters everywhere. There are a lot of guys, by the end of that game especially. But you're thinking, you don't want to leave him open either.
Yeah.
And anytime the Nuggets were rotating, it was like hanging on by the skin of their teeth.
The thing that scared me most about what we saw from Portland is everyone's going to say they're not going to shoot like that again. But what's going to stop them from shooting like that again? If they get the same exact looks, which are wide open, why wouldn't they make those shots? Like that one team looked prepared and locked in, and the other team was just a little bit out of character. It was a lot of out of character things, and that was on both sides of the ball. Players doing things that they typically did not do or normally did not do this year. So that's what stands out for me.
Yeah, I mean, the Nuggets were really kind of in control for a lot of this game, and then they hit the stint in the third where the starters were like, Jokic had actually like a pretty bad little series where he took an ill-advised three. It led to a breakaway. He missed another shot. Like, they just kind of lost focus up and down. So it was a little frustrating. Like, it felt to me like they kind of found the rhythm and the recipe, and then they took their foot off the gas, and they just never got it back.
It just unravels, and I think that's the thing about Portland that's dangerous is Denver was up 10 points late in this game, and it was erased within like 2 minutes. It was a 10-point lead. Denver comes down with a chance to push it to like 13, doesn't get it. 2-3 possessions later, it was tied, and you're like, man, you can't in the playoffs. You can't have a 10-point lead evaporate that quickly.
Nope,
because it takes so much work. Especially like as good as Denver is offensively, they're good methodically. Like you come down, they're gonna make Jokic gonna make something, or he's gonna make a tough shot, this or that. But it takes a full possession. Portland can sprint up the court and drain a three. sprint up the court, drain another 3, and you're like, man, that 35 seconds went by and they got 9 points. So, and that's what happened in that stretch.
And I'd buckle up for that, man. The Blazers are a comeback team. I think statistically maybe the best in the league this year, and at least anecdotally, it sure feels like Denver knows how to throw a lead away.
It's tough too. Like, this game was a game where truly felt the absence of Jamal Murray. Like,
oh, for sure. I mean you're going to say this every game, I promise you.
But it was like Jokic really didn't have his running mate. Like, MPJ did a couple things. He looked pretty, but he just didn't have that playoff intensity that Jamal Murray brings, obviously. I mean, we've scarcely seen that in the history of the NBA. He shoots 10% from three-point tonight, Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah. I think he shot 100% from non-three-pointers, though.
It felt that way.
I think he was 11 of 11 from inside the arc.
Maybe. Oh, I guess overall he was.
And he was 1 of 10 from 3, and then
57% from the field, 12 of 21 from the field.
Yeah, 12 of 21. Yeah, and he missed 9 threes, so he made every two-pointer. So. Before we get into the analyzing of this game, just vibe check. The feeling you have from watching this game, like, does it feel? Here's the one thing one of the things I love doing the show with George Karl. I took to them this last year, especially. You could think of the roller coaster last year was he kept saying it's a long series. He's like, we don't know what game 4 is going to look like. Like, we could barely try to start to talk about game 2. So game 1 loss, like, yes, you lose on your home court, you lose momentum, you lose all of those things. But my perspective on this is there'll be adjustments, and I think game 2 will take on a completely different personality.
Of course it does, and also. Most people had the Nuggets winning in 7. That means that there had to be some losses coming.
Yeah.
So you can't be down about a loss because you already projected for a loss to happen. Yeah. Also, any team is going to have to make adjustments. Portland's going to make adjustments as well, but the Nuggets clearly have a lot of adjustments that they have to make. Yeah. And they're a team that has shown that they're resilient. They don't back down, and they're able to adjust as the series prolongs. So that is not nothing to be down on. Jokic still was the best player on the court tonight. They played Marcus Howard minutes, and he looked well. Like, there was small positive things, but also one team shot a lot of open shots. The other one had to work every single play for a basket. That I don't think that happens again.
Yeah. As much as I think Jokic was the best player on the court tonight, Damian Lillard was the most heroic. Like, Damian Lillard's shots tonight were ridiculous, and we're going to get to that in a second. But first, we're not going to sit here and talk about, Murray's not there, Barton's not, PJ's not there, because those things obviously, that's a given. But you mentioned, how much they missed him tonight. Jokic had 1 assist. It is now his career low playoffs for 1 assist, and I think it might be his season low on assists this year. And it was a very deliberate choice. Look, they wanted to guard him one-on-one. I actually think 34 points, if they're going to guard you the way that they guarded him tonight, I actually want to see even a little bit more out of him. And I know that's a tough task to ask, but if they're not going to double you, I don't know where the rest of your point generation is going to come from. And to me, that's the thing. It's not that he probably should have had 3-4 assists, but he wasn't going to have 10 based on how they were. Guys missed a couple shots. But to me, that's the concerning part is they're going to do that to you. You've really got to punish him, maybe even more than 34. Even though I think he was great. Like, Jokic gets an A grade from me. It's just the series is going to be so tough.
Yeah, you really feel like his sort of abandonment. Like, he's just sort of, he
was aggressive. He was tough.
At any given possession, you're like, all right, what do I want to have happen? Like, I just want Jokic to score.
I know, man. There was a stretch there where I'm like,
you're looking around, you're like, okay, Austin Rivers is out there. He's got nothing for you. MPJ confusingly has nothing for you. MPJ had a great game, sort of. Like, he scored points. Like, Aaron Gordon did exactly what we all predicted. He would scored 16
We're going to talk about him. I don't think he did quite what I predicted.
Well, as far as offensively. Like, he scored the total that we all kind of expected. But it just felt like Jokic Island out there.
It was Jokic Island. It really is.
And you said that you need more from Jokic, which goes both ways. Like, I feel like he was very aggressive. He takes 27 shots in a game. But I think the difference between the other stars that played earlier in the day, Luka, Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Giannis, they all play 40 minutes. Like,
yeah, I don't know what was going on tonight that he only played 35. What is this?
You're the best. Like, you're the MVP. You're also the player that gets your team a win, and you don't play the full game. That's a little bit awkward. Like, you have to go away from your normal rotation.
Yeah.
And you have to, like, push the envelope, and they did not do that, which I think it threw off a lot of things and a lot of people, and even his momentum that he had going. He gets himself going from beyond the arc tonight, and he goes 3 of 4. Like, he was in a rhythm. You don't take him out of that rhythm, and I've seen that tonight.
And you can start with the 2 extra minutes he sat after the timeout in the fourth quarter, which, like, I think if I remember correctly, wasn't terribly consequential with regards to the score, but you're still looking at that thinking, like, no, this is the time. This is the time you lean heavily on him, and I would have liked to see him play the whole fourth, even though I know that's not viable.
I think Malone liked the rhythm that group had, and it's like, it's one of those classic things, like, you have a unit that probably shouldn't be winning, but they're winning, and it's like, oh, let's keep them in there and say, hey, man, don't press your luck sometimes on, Marcus Howard might hit a shot or here too, but let's not just leave him in until he misses one.
It's tough too, man. Like, sorry, Eric, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that unit, like, up until that point, they went on that 8-0
They went on the run. That's why he left him in, yeah.
But you're right. Like, you said it. You said it. I said it. The internet said it. Why isn't Jokic in right now? After that timeout, like, that was the moment to put it in. Like, whether or not that was consequential, that's the butterfly effect. You don't know, like, what that affects down the line. Like, I mean, he should, we just need it, dude. We need. Yeah,
I thought Jokic was great tonight. By the way, like, this is not really a critique of Jokic. It's just it's funny coming into the series, people were talking about, oh, you can't let Jokic do this. And I kept thinking, like, man, the smartest plan honestly might be to, to force some of these other guys to make shots or to do anything else. And I think watching the Nuggets play, you're like, I felt great about the Jokic matchup. Every other matchup is up and down, and some guys played well tonight, but it didn't. What Jokic did tonight felt sustainable. I feel like he can get 34 in Game 2, but they're going to have to get creative about where the rest of their points come from. Defensively, this is another tall task. He only played 35 minutes, and in hindsight, 35 minutes, he probably could have gone harder on the defensive end. I think he conserved a little energy. Jokic blew a couple major pick and rolls tonight by getting beat around the outside. And when I say a couple, I mean like 7, 8, and those were layups. And it's like Damian Lillard hit crazy shots tonight. They got a lot of threes and knocked him down. But when you let them turn the corner and get the layup shots on you, those are the ones that kill you. Got to erase those. And to me, if there's a critique of Jokic, the biggest critique would be defensively, he's just got to be a little better.
And what's funny is he was really good at that 2 years ago. And I think people look at it and go, oh, they lost because Jokic couldn't defend in space. That was not the case in that series, but tonight it was.
Yeah.
And also, like, they're making every three-pointer, and they're also getting inside.
Yeah, you got to take one away.
Don't stop the bleeding at all. You have to, like, choose which one you're going to slow down, especially with a team that has excellent guard play, and you don't have your defensive guards that you had in the past. So now you really have to have a game plan that you try to eliminate something. We know that, like, the defensive, like, assignment was to let Jokic go crazy and then the other guys try to beat you. What was the Nuggets assignment tonight?
Right.
I don't know what it was. I really don't think anyone knows I don't think the Nuggets players knew what the assignment was. It was like, let's just go out there and play. And
almost felt like a feel-it-out game.
Yeah, that's not what you do in the playoffs.
Right. The Nuggets kind of do, though. This is the thing.
I was going to say.
They actually kind of do play the first game, like, straight up.
This is what we do, man.
That's what we do. We lose game 1.
We lose game
that's
1.
That's not a fun spot.
That isn't a fun spot. That's why the Nuggets always go 7, because they punt the first game. Let's move on to Michael Porter, because he was obviously fascinating tonight. 12 of 21. You look at the line. He gets 25 points on 21 shots. That's not bad. 9 rebounds, which was key. That was one of my keys. 2 major blocks. 12 of 21, as we mentioned, I think 11 of 11 or 10 of 10, something like that from the field. 1 of 10 from the three-point line, though. How would you – let me go over to Dev first. How would you grade his game tonight?
I'll say originally it was not too bad. He, like, showed up for the moment. He was aggressive. He was trying. With Michael Porter Jr. all, like, season long, I think that once he makes that mental lapse in the game, it goes downhill from there. There was times this year that he was able to bounce back from that. Tonight he did not bounce back from that. I think that there was a few defensive assignments where he made the, like, wrong decision, and from there it, like, went on the offensive end. Then also he missed a few open threes, and he tried to find it later in the game because he goes 1 of 10 from beyond the arc. But, like, 5 of those was just trying to, like, find something,
especially
at the end of the game in the fourth quarter when the game was pretty much out of hand. So he has to do better, especially defensively. But that's not a game that I'm going to be too like down on MPJ. Like other days, those shots fall. We're not going to be down on him. Yeah. He just has to bring it a little bit more.
What do you think, Eric?
I mean, it was just I wanted more. We need more. Like we just need that second banana, man. Like he played good enough to be the third banana, right? Like he had, some comical hands issues. He couldn't bring in rebounds.
Oh, man.
But then he also finishing at the rim. He was really good tonight. Those threes though, like that was a backbreaker for us. Like we need that. Like we just absolutely have to have that production out of Mike. It's his first playoff game ever, right? So
no, last year.
You're right. Did he play in the?
Yeah, of course he started.
He was pretty good. Remember the dunk?
You're right.
Dunk on
okay, you're right.
I mean, there were no fans. This was fans. Yeah,
you're right.
Different. He had a different role.
It's different. Yeah, like this is his. I'll say this. This is his first playoff being foisted into a role where people are very much reliant on him, and they need him to perform. He's no longer just like an added bonus. And
I'll say this: I don't think he was scared. Like some players, you could tell they're scared. Like he missed his shots tonight. Like he missed his threes, but I think he attacked. He was aggressive. He was confident. He tried things that required a lot of him and pulled them off. It's just he didn't make his 3-pointers. And I'll say this: Portland attacked
get Colin
him.
Roberts out of here.
Is there an asshole in there?
Yeah, there's
guys. Don't be an a-hole.
Just loser Portland
it's an easy
fans.
It's a really easy.
Go drink a growler, bro. Go drink a growler.
Oh, is it a Portland, bro?
Yeah, it's a Portland loser.
But Portland really attacked him.
That's
and this is a thing that I think they're going to continue to do. We talked about what's different in the playoffs. Well, they're going to, and it wasn't even like he was bad. He had some good moments defensively, but I do think it's a little bit of, can you do this every time down? Need you on offense? You're going to have to play a lot of defense too. And honestly, I thought he handled it okay.
I was going to say, the three-point shooting will come around. I would start with that third quarter. Obviously, the highlight was when that first time it was Dame, and MPJ blocks that shot. That was a terrific defensive play. And then some varying results from there. I thought one-on-one individual, it was okay. I did. I know there were some lowlights. To me, the bigger issue is just when they send him running around, navigating through screens. He can't do that yet. This guy dies on every screen, and I'm not trying to hammer him too hard. We knew that already coming in, but it's going to be a part of his life in the playoffs
for sure.
I actually felt like they went at him, and it wasn't quite as successful as they wanted it to be in the third. But him chasing screens scares me. Chasing players around screens.
Yeah.
I'm more encouraged by Michael Porter tonight than I am discouraged. I'll have to rewatch the tape because defensively I do. Them attacking so much and Denver playing scrambled, I'm going to see just how much, was the compromise maybe starting from him. I really can't say, but what I was encouraged by was he just didn't look afraid of the moment. And that's the number one thing that could really sink this, is if it was like he shook or this or that. I just don't think he was. They guarded him tough. They made things tough, and he didn't knock down his threes, but he knocked down everything else. And then him grabbing rebounds tonight was important. 9 rebounds.
Yeah.
That was one of the big battlegrounds for me, and he got in there. The guy that bothered me a little bit tonight, Aaron Gordon, is an interesting one.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he had 16 and 8, and you feel like that's good. Number one, defensively, I mean, he got dunked on by Nurk. Like, he got hammered on. Defensively, modest impact. Didn't feel like it was like a great impact. And then offensively, there just was a lot of little pivot moments when you're like, that's your spot here. This is where they need you. And I felt like he came up small on all of them.
He got picked by Melo.
Picked by Melo was a huge one.
He gets blown by Melo, and he has to try to recover.
So many and ones.
Yeah, he came out, like, I'll say he came out of the gate like swinging. He came out of the gate like how we expected he would, where we just see that added energy and that added like kick. It just like he didn't quite sustain it. Like, but again, like in our preview show, we were asking, like, what do you expect offensively out of Aaron Gordon? And that's about exactly where we all landed. It's just like the offense is always an added bonus with Aaron Gordon. It's like you expect him to be the lockdown defender. We didn't.
In this series, though, he has such a favorable matchup, like that they kind of need it to expose a little bit more. But also, even past that play you're talking about, the Melo one, and I feel like there were 2 or 3 other ones. Those weren't like you missed a shot, you did this. It's like you didn't match the level of focus that was required there. Like getting picked there and having it hit off your foot was like, man, Melo wanted it more than you at that moment.
And by the way, that immediately followed him fouling Nurk in the and one where he mistimed that jump. And this is to your point. Like, it was actually very close to a good game.
Yeah.
But he had all these little chances on both sides of the ball to be that X factor, and he did come up short.
I think that, there's somebody, of course, in Gordon's corner or in his ear, and it could be the coaching staff that just told him, this is your moment. This is where you have to take off. This is where you have to be more offensively. But I think that him starting off, like, so quick, somebody also should have just hurry up and gotten into his ear and said, now you calm down. Now you get back to, like, being the person that is, like, laser focused, the player that is a defensive stopper, and not doing too much. Today he did a bit too much. And also, he had spurts where it was bad play after bad play, and it just kept coming back.
Dribble off his foot on the post move.
On both sides. And it was for a long time where he kind of ended up being a bit unplayable just because he was not playing well. So if he starts out with this type of game and intensity, great. But at some point, he has to slow down and just calm down and be part of the moment.
Yeah. 28 minutes from him is also kind of surprising. That kind of tells you a little bit about maybe where Malone's trust level is in him. And maybe it's just the series. Like, there are other series he probably would have been more needed. But 28 minutes is that's regular season numbers.
Yeah, that's actually was my first thought when you guys were talking about the minutes before with the stars. Gordon's, he's something short of a star, but he's a guy that you need a lot from. And that was too low. Too few minutes, I should say.
Yeah, but he also had bad plays in a row. Do you keep him in with those bad plays? That's my question. Like, he played so bad at a set time that they needed him to be different. Yeah. Where it's like you take a step back and say, next game or when you get back in, we need you to lock in mentally. That's what we need from you. Yeah. So I think that's why the minutes were a bit lower.
Let's take our first break. On the other side, Facundo Campazzo. Very, very interesting, man, game from Facu. In ways both good and bad. Like, I actually think this was a good one. We'll talk about that, but was it effective on Lillard? Not necessarily tonight, but we're going to talk about it.
All right, well, you guys know we love our Breck beers and seltzers. What we love even more this summer is the fact that Breckenridge Brewery is teaming up with the National Parks Conservation Association this year. The tragic fires in Colorado were absolutely devastating for so many, and this is one of the many reasons that Breck is donating 1% of all their profits this summer to the National Parks Conservation Association. That's right, if you buy 1 pint or pack of Breck brews, you are donating 1% to our great outdoors. We'll be hosting fun events at this bar to promote the awesome collaboration. You can come down, drink a Breck brew or a seltzer, and go away with some awesome swag from our friends at Breck Brew. You can also enter to win that $30,000 escape pod trailer if you just head to their website and enter to win. Just go to breckbrew.com/ingood.
That thing's sweet.
/ingoodco, and that's breckbrew.com/ingoodco for more details on winning. Good luck. Be sure to tag us and our friends at Breck Brew when you submit your entry to win. Check out Breck Brew using the Breck Beer locator or come to our bar because we got it all.
Yeah, that trailer was here last night.
Was it?
Yeah. I was like, I almost made it my home.
It's pretty dope, man. It's actually really cool if you're like an outdoorsy person. And
I put my head in it. It smells of fine wood in there.
Does it? Mahogany, would you say?
It's a pine, but all the same.
Oh, it's a pine. Okay.
Well, the playoffs are stressful, guys, as we all know, as we were reminded tonight. It induces a lot of anxiety. That's what it's going to be like at night.
Yeah.
So save yourself in the morning. Check out Strava Craft Coffee, the CBD infused coffee. Cuts the edge off. You're still getting your caffeine, though. I love it. You can get 25% off your first purchase when you use code DNVR25, or you can get 20% off every purchase when you subscribe to their subscription service. You choose what flavor, what dosage, when it comes to you every 2, 4, 6, or 8 weeks. Check out StravaCraftCoffee.com today. Try their delicious CBD infused coffee, and remember, use code DNVR25 at checkout.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Facu. There were some really big moments for Facu tonight. It's funny because I was reading the timeline tonight, and there's a lot of people that, let's be honest, Facu's annoying to go against. And there's a lot of guys that say there's certain players who, an annoying player that's not physically able to stop you just gets a guy going. And I felt like that was the case tonight. Facu, I thought, did a great job, but it almost like added fuel to Dame's fire tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the type of player that he is, especially, based off of the eye test. Everyone that he's playing against is going to say he's too small, 1. 2, we don't know him. So, like, those are 2 factors, and you're going to try to attack him. The thing that stands out with me on Facu, first off, he made some big shots, especially at, like, key points in the game where, like, they went on runs.
Right, yeah.
And it's not, I can't put it on him that the opposing team also was able to just score at will. But with Facu is, Portland is a team that sets, like, a lot of pick and rolls, and you have to, like, try to stop their, like, first, like, line of attack. But after that, you have to switch to pick and rolls, and you put Jokic in bad spots. We had already talked about Jokic on the, like, pick and rolls and screens, and there was a lot of, like, bad, like, communication where it led to an open 3, and it kind of put Facu in bad spots where it looks like he's not defending or he's the one that's lost focus, and it's not on him. A lot of the times there was a lot of switches on Michael Porter Jr. in a pick and roll. Now Facu's on a guy that he's not supposed to, and Michael Porter Jr. is getting attacked. So I think that, like, plays a big part in why Facu's, like, plus minus was down. But I feel like that was a pretty good Facu game. Yeah. And I feel like he was into the game and mentally there.
Go ahead. I thought he played well. And to be honest, Dame's 34, not great, but 40% from the field. What bums me out more is the 13 assists. And I think a lot of that was that screen dynamic you were talking about of turning that corner on Jokic, which is not necessarily on Facu. Dame hit some big-time shots over him. I agree with you. He almost seemed motivated by the matchup, which is kind of funny. But it was the assists that killed me more. And I think, Dame's going to get some shots up. If you saw he shot 40% from the field, you probably live with that.
Yeah. And that's the thing about a guy like Facu is, like, worst case scenario, you can get a shot off over him most of the time.
Yep.
And I think, like, tonight, that's what you're talking about, is a guy like Dame just got annoyed and was like, F it, I'm going to do these threes. I'm going to come off the corner and knock it down or whatever. And he hit him tonight. We'll see if he keeps hitting him. He's a great player, so maybe he will. The assists were great from Facu. I mean, he had some big-time assists. I thought he ran the point well.
He really did have a good game.
I did too. I thought so too, man.
If not for Dame Lillard, like, we would be... and we had we won, I mean, we would be talking about whether or not this was a Facu game. Like, he was.
At one point, we were ready to call it a Facu game.
We were ready, man. Like, he was stealing. He was getting steals. He was knocking down his shots. He only took a few great looking assists. He just looked poised, and he looked disruptive. The way that, like, a really good Facu performance looks.
Yeah. So I was impressed with him. Do we feel like he is going to be effective against Damian Lillard in Game 2? Or do you feel like this was, Dame's just like, I'm going to take it to this guy, this little
I think that he'll be effective because I feel like other players are going to be more locked in on their defensive matchups. So I think that you're not going to be able to attack Michael Porter Jr. every single time or sort him out in pick and rolls. I don't think that Jokic is not going to be concerting energy on one end of the floor. I think he's just going to be locked in to play the entire game. I also think that there will be different looks. Maybe we see Shaq Harrison. Maybe we see other players switch on to Dame, where it's not only on Facu the entire time. So I think that there will be changes.
So now we get to the others. Are you telling me we have Harrison already? Oh, that's what I was thinking. I thought you said that's what we have. I was like, holy shit, that was quick. So let's go to the others now. The weirdest call in the Michael Malone era, Marcus Howard getting minutes. This was like the craziest thing I ever could have thought. And guess what? I think it was the right call. Marcus Howard had some big moments. I'm shocked he only had 7 points. I thought he had like 14
because
they felt big.
Yes, because Marcus Howard, you were like, wow, why is he in there? And then every positive thing he did, it was like you noticed it. You were like, all right, okay.
I disagree strongly with you guys.
What do you think?
I didn't think he played well. I thought he was really bad defensively.
Oh, I didn't say he played well.
I don't think he can be good defensively.
Exactly. And so I recognized, like, you're right, it's ironic that Malone went for more firepower.
Yeah.
And I get, like, Denver doesn't have enough right now. But is that leaning in the wrong direction? You got to try to get some stops. And is that an easier job with Shaq Harrison out there?
That's going to be the adjustment. That is going to be the adjustment. We're going to get Shaq Harrison for sure next game. We might even see him on Dame for some portion of time.
I wonder how much, not that you really wanted to get a read on anything in that last game of the season, but they played Shaq a lot in that one, and he kind of got cooked. And I don't know, like, that game was so weird. I don't know how much you could judge it, but I wonder if that factored into his decision at all.
I don't even know what to say about that because it was just such a one-off. Yeah. Like, maybe the idea that Nuggets just needed more scoring, just because they're going against Portland, who's not really a defensive team at all. Maybe. I mean, I was going to say it had to do with Austin Rivers, but he goes in and he plays his regular allotment of minutes.
He played 33, which coming off his illness, you thought maybe.
Yeah, so it's not that. It was just he went with the guy and thought that would work. There was positive Marcus Howard moments where he led a run, but he also gave up a run. So you saw, both ends of the spectrum. But from a guy like that, especially with the second unit, you don't expect much more. Like, you want him to score, you want him to contribute in some type of way, and he did.
Has any other team played a two-way player in the playoffs, you think? Or do you think any other team will?
No. Not unless it's a blowout and it's the playoffs.
That's what I mean. Like an actual, hey, here you go. Need you to be great here. I mean, it's such a weird spot the Nuggets are in.
God,
I did not see Marcus Howard playing tonight. I mean, but the other two-way guy is Shaq Harrison, who were like, he should have played. But it's like you replace one two-way with another two-way.
Yeah, I mean, we are in a weird spot.
We're in a really weird spot.
We're definitely in a weird spot.
It's been quite the year.
Yeah, it's been quite the year.
I saw someone on Twitter said, wow, the Nuggets are closing with Austin Rivers. I was like, dude,
they're starting him.
What are the other
they're closing with him. He's like their fourth best player at the moment. Austin Rivers, we can get to him tonight. I mean, 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Thought he guarded well. It's weird. I got to go back and really find out who was blowing these coverages because I felt like he was locked in defensively and doing some things. Didn't make some of the big shots. There was one in particular I could think of, a Jokic kick out that was just so big.
I'm saying, the problem with this game is that it was a certain way, and then the Nuggets were cruising. Like, things were going well.
Yeah.
There was just a stint where it fell apart, and the entire game was basically decided in that little stint in the third.
I feel like there were two stints.
For Austin Rivers, he had a few shots where if he makes it, it changes the tide of the game.
Totally.
Like, they needed him to make those big shots, and he also got really good looks from it. It was not 4 shots where he was getting it, and also Portland was giving it to him. You have to knock that down because that changes the way that everyone is guarding you. And also you're a starter and you're playing big minutes in the playoffs. This is your moment. This is what you wanted. You have to step up in these moments.
Yeah. Maybe he gets a little, not really a pass, but maybe you should be more optimistic about him going forward because he will be back, hopefully feeling better and
I was going to
back
say,
to 100%.
he was sick. It is possible that impacted him. Yeah.
It's a rough one for him. Paul Millsap tonight, 3 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds.
Dad did.
There was opportunity. The funny thing is, I thought in our preview, I called Paul Millsap my X factor, guy that could really swing it. And an X factor means he could swing it one way or the other. Tonight, there were so many opportunities where I was like, here's a Millsap moment, and he just didn't have any of them tonight.
Uncle Paul he wasn't horrible, I was seeing down the timeline or anything like that, but he just wasn't. He wasn't himself. I think that's really what it was. He facilitated in this game. He was aggressive on the boards. He just was. He wasn't enough. He wasn't what the Nuggets needed him to be, especially in the playoffs, where one team is trying to be physical with you, and you needed him to have one of those signature moments where he steps up and he also turns the tide. So I think that I don't want to be completely down on Millsap. I think that you can be optimistic that things will change for him, and he'll also he'll have that moment, and then things will change from there.
Man, when he dribbled the ball up the court and just did exactly what we knew he was going to do, dribbled it off his foot, went out of bounds, right in a there were just several high leverage moments that the guys that you were all right, we need this guy to step up tonight to be able to succeed. All of them failed.
Yeah.
Austin Rivers, Paul Millsap.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, MPJ.
MPJ, I thought was good. Honestly, Gordon, a lot of these threes that he missed, he went 1 of 10 tonight. 4 of those were in the last 30 seconds of the game. I mean, he launches threes.
For 2/3 of this game, I thought he was really good.
Yeah,
he was, but he wasn't he wasn't quite what we needed.
Yeah, I think it was that third quarter. He kind of disappeared a little bit during that run where they really needed to stop. JaMychal Green, do we have any notes on him? The only note I have from him is, and I thought this in watching the games between Denver and Portland earlier in the season, he's matched up with Carmelo. I don't like that matchup. Carmelo made his career off of taking J. Mike's a traditional power forward.
Yeah.
Carmelo's like a combo forward who's now a stretch four. J. Mike's like a good defender. He's tough. He tried to get into him and stuff. Melo just loves those matches. That's the kind of guys he cooks.
Yeah, J. Mike was another guy that was just like virtually invisible, if not.
Happened to J. Mike?
I don't know, man. Yeah, J. Mike, like the plight of J. Mike, the epic of J. Mike is going to be told in these parts for at least one day after the season ends.
Really, I don't even remember much from him besides the fact that he wanted to fight Carmelo.
Yeah. He tried to get up and in, man, which is what you want. That toughness.
That was the only moment that I can remember from him.
I thought Monte brought the toughness tonight. He had 10 points, 5 of 10 shooting, 5 assists. He made some big shots. He drove it hard to the lane. Like he like to me as a confidence guy. He's another one that's like not afraid of the moment. And does his role.
It's funny, like after a loss like this, it like really kind of colors the performances of a lot of guys differently for you. Like, because in the moment, like I was like, oh man, Monty's having a good game, AG's having a good game. Then it like falls apart, and you're like,
there were little moments, man.
Like
where it was
Monte like had a couple times we like ill-advised drives.
Yeah,
like at the end of half, like
that end of was it the end of half? That was a disaster. Like, it's funny, and part of this is Jokic's fault. Lillard falls down. He almost suckered him into it, if you want to be honest. Because at the end of games, you just shouldn't. If you have the ball and you can take the last shot, the worst thing that can happen is it's 0-0, right? You don't give a point.
Yeah.
If you go early, even if you have a 5-on-4 advantage, the worst thing that can happen is exactly what happened, which is you could end up turning it over or fouling or whatever, and that's what happened. Denver, for whatever reason, Jokic and Monte, two of the smartest players, they're like, let's go for it early. They attack, 4 seconds left on the clock. He gets blocked, and then he fouls, and it's in the bonus, so fouled 91 feet from the basket, go all the way down, and they get 2 free throws. It was a momentum because Denver had got off to a good start, blown it, and then fought back in the second quarter and taken a 5-point lead, and you're like, man, that's great. Two big runs, and then you end up blowing it at the end.
There are a lot of moments in this game. I mean, it is, if you are trying to go full silver lining, for everything that went wrong, like, couldn't you pick 3 or 4 things you just maybe Paul Millsap doesn't try to bring the ball down the floor and whatever that layup attempt was, and these are moments like this game was winnable as horribly as it went.
Yeah. I hate that happened with Monte because I feel like besides that spurt, which really like changed like them going into the second half, and that we already know what happens in the third quarter, but Monte like looks confident the entire time. He's making very tough layups. He's getting to his spots, and he ran that second unit. This was a game that I feel like the starters lost. Like, I don't think that the backups is who you can blame the game on.
They both had bad stints,
I mean, third quarter, there was nothing that they could do. Like, the floodgates had already opened because the starters had opened them for them. And the second unit had their moments where, especially in the first half, where they played really well. And then in the third quarter is when they go bad.
Yeah. So if we go to the other side and kind of look at Portland tonight, you get 18 points from Melo. I think 12 or a lot of those came all in a row. So he did have one spurt. That spurt was enough. Like, that was what Denver was up. All of a sudden they were down going into the end of the first quarter.
Yep.
And it was almost all Melo. And he goes 4 of 8 from 3-point. But I thought even more than Melo in this game, Anthony Simons, 4 of 5 from the 3-point line, 14 points. To me, he was the big, like, you got hit by both. You got punched by Melo early, then you got punched. Well, Simons can score. This is how Portland built their team. They're not good on defense, and even tonight I didn't think they were great on defense. But they just have so many guys that on any given night can get you. And tonight, Lillard can get you more often than not. So you get him. He's a given. You usually get one other guy, and it's like you're probably going to win. They got 2 tonight. They got Melo and Simons.
Yeah, I just mean, what is this, like Rodney Hood, Anthony Simons, Melo, like like the ghost of Melo. Like, there's just it's like, I mean, granted, it's not like the guards also scored for Portland, so it's not like,
well, CJ was in check. Like 21 points on 8 of 20 shooting is like, all right, that's par. Is this your channel you're talking about?
No, it comes on every time.
I was like, there's a song that comes on every time we do this show, and I don't know what it is.
Favorite
Turns
song.
out it's Peaches by Justin Bieber. Looked it up today.
Yeah, and we were just talking about the moments. It felt like Simons had 3 moments, and they all went bottom of the net.
Yeah.
And they're not even close. It's kind of weird, man. Portland Stars, I mean, ultimately had a huge impact on this game, but they were both like 40% from the field. Everyone else, except for Norm, shut the lights out. All the others stepped up for Portland, and very few did for Denver.
Yeah. Melo's a funny one. So, Melo got going tonight, and it's unfortunately, sadly, the first time he has won in Denver. He has now won a game in Denver. I'm so bummed that this streak came to an end. You felt like it probably would in this series at some point.
Of course it would. Of course it would.
Of course it would come in the playoffs.
And of course it's going to be game one.
But I got to say, I'm a little annoyed, and I have to bring up people. I don't know. Kale, can you find the tweet? It's from Mark Spears.
Dude.
He said it was pathetic that Denver boos Carmelo Anthony. And look, I have a lot of respect for Mark Spears. He used to be at the Denver Post. He's well respected by everybody. He weaves in and out of basketball for 40 years.
Just guess what, Mark Spears? We don't care what you think at all.
But I actually do care. I'm upset that he said it because here's the thing: booing is not in any way damaging.
I know.
You know what I mean? It is It is actually you go to a game and you cheer your team and you boo the other team.
That's kind of how it works.
It's actually exactly how it works. And Carmelo Anthony is on the other team. And, of course, there's a history there. And he said something like, get over it, it's pathetic. First of all, it's sports, dude. Yeah. It's sports. And I have such a problem with, I've been on a real kick over the last week about all of these people from the coast trying to tell, did you pull it up there? You have it right there. All these people from the coast telling Denver how to build. They don't give a shit about Denver anyway. No. Mark Spears, by the way, come from Denver. So, he's been here. He's actually from the Bay, but he's worked here for many, many years. You don't get to tell Denver how to act, and especially on something like this where this is actually what sports are about.
And I know Mark has the connection here, but I saw it from others as well. And if I've learned anything in 3 years here, it's that you folks outside don't know anything about this team, culture, or fan base. Not only that, you don't care to unless you have a snarky tweet lined up.
Right.
So do us all a favor, sit this one out. I'm new here. I don't have any horse in the Melo race.
Right.
Except it's sports. Grow up. This is the softest conversation I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's sports. It's a rivalry. It's the playoffs. Boo Carmelo with all your hearts out. Thank you for your service.
What did I think is supposed to? Do you think you're supposed to root for him on the other team in the playoffs against your team?
And the tweet in there is he is one of the best Nuggets to ever play. Strong agree. He's on the other goddamn team. And more importantly, first of all, Denver fans aren't mean to Carmelo Anthony. Dude, honestly, if anything, they're soft with the Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah,
if anything, we're we had a great year.
I just love this idea. Guys, Carmelo Anthony's a person. He's a multi-millionaire that chose his own path in life, turned his back on you. You need to respect him.
And we need to cheer for him as he's draining threes on us.
Screw Melo. I don't care. Screw Melo. You didn't want to be here, so you get boozed. That's kind of how that works. I'm telling you, man. The disdain from the coast for the city for Denver is just it's overwhelming to me. It honestly is. It almost I have to remind myself not to let it. It almost bleeds past sports to me. It almost goes beyond it, but alas, you can't let it.
No, you guys are just fodder for the other narratives. So thanks.
100%. And I'm sorry we are not showing appreciation for somebody else that's not on our team at the moment. And by the way, booing. That's what he said. He didn't say telling him to F off or saying he said booing. And I'm I'm sorry, Mark Spears. A lot of respect for you. Would love to sit down. Terrible take. Take that one with you. Keep it out of Denver. It does not belong here in this city.
Also, again, we do not care. We'll boo him again.
Oh, yeah. Also, F off. Yeah,
he's getting booed again, for sure.
We'll boo you, Mark Spears.
Any other... Should we take our last break? On the other side, we're waiting. Harrison Wind is waiting on Nikola Jokic to speak, and then he'll join us. Very interested to hear what everybody had to say in the post game tonight. But I also want to talk about adjustments on the other half and just kind of what things we expect in Game 2. Quick turnaround on this one. Then they get a longer break between Games 2 and 3. But let's do that on the other side.
Yeah, speaking of adjustments, the streaks are talking. The walls are whispering. Folks everywhere are switching over to Green Mountain Dental Group. They're now their permanent family dentists. Those listeners have personally reached out to us. Let us know how great that experience was. If you don't know, Green Mountain Dental Group is in Lakewood. They're the best damn family-owned dentist in the metro. They're extreme Colorado sports fans, just like all of us here at DNVR, just like all of you here at home. Sometimes you get stuck in some really awkward dentist conversations.
Yeah.
It's way cooler when the dentist is just like, man, that Jokic guy whips ass, huh? Sign me up. And then also, when you schedule a cleaning, x-ray, and exam, you receive a free Sonicare toothbrush out the door. I don't see why you shouldn't do it. We all have to take care of your teeth. Do it with Green Mountain Dental Group. We also, fellas, and not everyone knows this, but we got to take care of ourselves too. Right?
Yeah, bro. Gotta take care of yourself.
Men's grooming is in. Manscaping. Manscaping is in. The Lawnmower 4.0 is out
4.0.
LED light, waterproof, really hard to cut yourself. And it's important. You got to take care of it. So check out Manscaped and use code DNVR to get 20% off, plus free shipping. International, by the way. That goes to all of our listeners. Free shipping at Manscaped. When you use code DNVR, do it. Check them out. Don't put this off. It'll change your life. One more ad here, guys. Almost.
Yeah, the thing about the manscaping, I treat it more like mansculpting.
That was
like
TMI.
like a bonsai situation.
Sure, you're probably hearing how great mortgage rates are right now. Mike and Virginia at Chevalier Mortgage are not just your typical mortgage company. Sure, they have phenomenal rates, but what makes them different is that Mike is a certified financial planner and looks at so much more than just the rate when designing your home loan. Also, they're small, family-owned, so you always feel like a person and not just a number. Visit them at dnvrmortgage.com and enter to win a free DNVR shirt or hat of your choice when you do. Most importantly, go get set up with a free consultation to discuss all your options, or just call Virginia directly at 303-257-6578. That's Mike and Virginia at Chevalier Mortgage.
God damn, we're like really running the gamut of trollery. We've got variety of Portland folks. We got pro-Trump people. Yeah. It's just, they're really bringing it, dude. Let's go.
Or the Oregon, man. There's
nightmare material.
You get like 1 mile outside of Portland, and it really changes. It gets wild.
Welcome.
They take over like federal buildings and shit.
Welcome.
What was that? Was the one? It was Oregon, right? The nature reserve. Or
yes,
whatever.
Yes, it was.
All right. What can go differently in Game 2? What player that didn't necessarily have a great game do you think has a great game in Game 2?
Michael Porter Jr. The shots are gonna fall. He's also stay your same aggressive self. Like, do not change that. Find those mismatches. Like, you're a player, like, especially with Portland, they have so many guys that you can sort out. You can get the mismatch on. You get the advantage. So this is like a game that I feel like he'll go back and watch the film. One, he'll say, okay, these are the things that I need to do, and I need to switch onto things. And also I need help like behind me, but also on the other end of the floor, I need to be more efficient, or I need to get back to doing what I normally do, and that's buckets. I'm Showtime, baby.
Showtime. I think it's going to be Austin Rivers, man. Like, I feel like Austin, I mean, he did not play a very good game. He actually had a decent process game, as we would say. Like, he played good defense. He didn't like assert himself like in bad ways. He just like didn't hit shots at all. Like, he shot a air ball. Like, he just didn't quite have it on the offensive end. And it was not clear whether or not he was going to play. He probably had some lingering effects from feeling ill, at least the day before. So I just feel like what we saw from him going down the stretch seems more likely to make an appearance than what we saw tonight.
This might be more wishful thinking than analysis. Aaron Gordon, boy, would it be nice. And again, what does it look like? Not him scoring 30 points. We talked about it. Almost a good game. Those 3-4 moments you get to swing a stint, quarter, half, he can be the guy, and he needs to be in Game 2.
Man, this one is tough because you can pick like any number of guys. Like, honestly, you can go Austin Rivers, you can go Gordon, you can Green or Millsap, or even Monte maybe plays a bigger role. You can go all those guys. It's really tough. I do like the Porter pick. I thought he looked fearless tonight. One of the things that, where is Denver right now in the Porter integration into the system? Because so much of the year was about Murray still there and he was like clearly the third wheel. I feel like even now, thinking, he will have a better game, the Nuggets don't necessarily, he doesn't quite find 48-minute efforts. You know what I mean? Like, his whole season has been like pockets of scoring. Yeah. And that's why I'm a little bit more hesitant on it. But I do think Denver's going to have to find it. Like, I look at there, and this is why I say, like, you said Austin Rivers, said all these guys, I'm like, are they going to hit shots? Are they going to score a bunch? I don't know. Michael Porter, I know, can.
For sure. Absolutely.
20, what did he have tonight? 25
points.
It's pretty good.
I know. It was just from three. He was just could not. I mean, he shot 10%. Shot 10% from three. Portland as a team shot 47%.
I think they're going to keep attacking Porter. That's my one hesitation on this is, it's funny we talk about this as offensively. I mean, Denver scored 109. Probably could use a little bit more. You probably need 115 in this series at least, but 123 is just so much, and part of me wonders who's going to step up more defensively to kind of get it done. And I don't know. I don't necessarily know who.
I would play Shaq Harrison.
So
I understand all the concerns on offense. I absolutely do. But that's a transcendent defensive player, albeit in short spurts to this point in his career. But I think those spurts are going to be more effective than anything we saw tonight.
Yeah.
What about regression to the mean? So they get 19 of 40, almost 50% from 3 on 43s is insane. But again, we think that can you expect Simons maybe to struggle a little more? Can you expect Melo? What do you think?
Definitely.
I say yes. I say yes and no. If they keep getting the same type of looks, I do not think that like anything changes. And also, they're knowing that the Nuggets are gonna adjust and they're also gonna like make their changes. I think that they're just gonna try to attack them in different ways, but they're gonna attack the same guys. You don't just watch film and all of a sudden get it. Like they still understand these are the guys that we're gonna go after. Let's make it happen. So I'll say no, because I do expect like Malone to make changes himself. I expect him to be more locked in to where he's putting his guys in different spots or in better spots. It's on the players. But at the same time, I know what Portland's going to do, and it's going to be, hey, these are our guys, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we're not going to get another Simons game like this. I mean,
he's a bucket. He's a scorer, man.
But he isn't. I don't know. Like, we've played them multiple times. Like, he kind of he was much louder tonight than he's ever been in the games we played against them. Like, I mean, I'm not, I'm being dismissive because I like Denver and I don't like Portland, but like I know that he's a good player. It's just I don't expect to feel Anthony Simons in the way that I felt him tonight.
Yeah, I would push back just by saying like this felt eerily similar to the Utah start to me insofar as, okay, is that shot luck or like are every single one of these shots in rhythm? And all these guys feel comfortable.
He had one that was like crazy though. He had one that was like perfectly defended and he just like sidestepped and drained it.
To some extent, Eric, like is it going to be like 48% every night? No. Right. But I am concerned that these are open looks for good shooters.
But my feeling is like, listen, like if we're looking at this game, like even if next game plays out almost exactly like this game did, and we have Anthony Simons not shooting 50%, and we have Michael Porter Jr. not shooting 10%, like this game to me like comes down to the buzzer. It's there's just like a few little elements that just didn't go Denver's way, that did go Portland's way, that I don't expect them to be able to rely upon. I mean, Dame's gonna eat. We know this. CJ is gonna be right up there also. Nurkic is gonna play the way that exactly how he did. It's just it's always around the edges when it comes to these teams.
Yeah. I think with that the means like. I also don't think that was a great Portland game. I think that's what the scary part is. Like
they shot well. I mean, that's a great shooting.
But also Norman Powell, I feel he'll play better. I feel like Lillard was not amazing tonight, even though he scored a lot.
I thought he was amazing.
Still 10 of 25. Like,
it can be better though. It can be worse.
He could actually be better. I just feel like other guys can step. Even McCollum was not like himself or amazing. So, like, it goes both ways where it's still, like, at the tip-off of next game, you're starting from scratch. Like, both teams, like, both have to be better.
They had 15 games Portland did this year with 19 or more three-pointers. They lost 4 of them. So, they went 15-4 when making 19 threes. Dude,
and also, I mean, did we hear that the Portland set a franchise record for three-point shots tonight?
Really?
Yeah.
No, that can't be right.
For the playoffs.
Oh, in a playoffs. I was going to say, they shot that many, honestly, like, half of the games this season. Yeah, more than half actually. I had 43s. They just don't make that many that often. But does the short turnaround time favor Denver or Portland? Because they play on Monday, so it's like one day off.
Probably Portland. What do you think, Dev? I don't really have a good answer.
I think that it favors the Nuggets, just because like when you're in a rhythm and you have like everything going for you to like have a break and not be in your normal rotations or your normal playing every other day, you're used to that. Now you get a few days off, and also you are on film and everything else. Also, when you look at the differences in the game, the Nuggets still played the Nuggets style of basketball, which was, get it to their best players and just go. Portland just has they're feeding everybody and you just make shots. I just don't know like we've been saying, if you're just gonna just completely make every shot like that again, like I just don't know how that happens. So I mean, I don't think there's a real answer to that.
Yeah, I mean, like, are they going to set the franchise record every game? I don't think so.
Maybe.
I don't think it favors either team.
Yeah.
Frankly,
See, I think Denver maybe needs just time. The only thought was maybe they need time to gameplay because they need to make the adjustments. So maybe you need.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like the more time it's just like a paralysis by analysis. Like you just like.
Do you think Jokic comes out with a better game in Game 2 than he did in Game 1?
I do. I think that I think he understands. Like I should have scored more, or I should have attacked more. I was the one that had it going tonight. Like just keep feeding me. Like I think he's gonna like see the other stars, the other players. They get the ball every single play. Like the only way we win is if I go nuclear. So I'm gonna have to go for 45. I'm gonna have to go for 50 if I have to.
Yeah.
And I think that they're going to feed him with that as well. Like, you're our guy. We have to go through you. You win us these games.
Yeah, I actually see him really making a concerted effort to get his assists up and get other people involved. Like, because, like, I mean, this is kind of like what you can expect from any one player. Like, outside of him just shooting on every. I mean, he shot a lot. It's not like he was like we were just begging Jokic to get shots up when he wasn't. Like, to me, the one assist is the thing that stands out the most as where the adjustment can come and like how he can find out to get other guys going so that it's, you know, like then when they do need him down the stretch, like, you know, it's not like him not as maybe worn down. I don't know, but he just needs more help, and like he can make that happen for himself.
Yeah.
I think if Jokic's game looks better, it's because Michael Malone had a better game, and Jokic played 40 plus minutes.
It's a great point.
Every time he was on the court, I felt confident.
Yep. Scored a point a minute when he was on the court.
Yeah. So I don't know if it can be much better, but there can be more of that.
Yeah.
Which
14 of 27 is like great shooting too. Like for that volume.
That's what I'm saying. Like I don't really know what else we can expect from Jokic offensively.
Defense.
Some defense, but it's not like, I mean, he was not the best we've ever seen him, but he also was like, you know, like part of defense also is getting defensive rebounds. Like he got a ton of rebounds tonight. Like
I see a lot of people in the comments pointing out that Jokic needs to have more than one assist. No kidding. That's a good point.
Yeah, but it's a function of the team.
That's exactly it.
I mean, a lot of Jokic's assists come from the pick and roll game where you break the team down, and now he's attacking a broken down defense. Right now, Denver needs him to break down the defense because they just have nobody else to really be able to do it. So, I mean, this has been the trend. If you're new to watching the Nuggets, this has been a trend since Murray went down. And again, it's not just Murray. It's since Murray went down, Monte went down, and he came back. But then also Will Barton went down, and even PJ Dozier, another guy that can create, that can break things down. So, I mean, Denver was down 4 of their top 5 guards.
This might also shock you, though, but Jokic like has a better pulse on when he should pass and when he should score than anyone else in the world.
Literally anybody else in the world.
Yeah, so decent point, Tev.
There's no way he was out there. Jokic's like, you know what? I shouldn't pass. You know, like whatever. It's like, yeah, this is what the game had. Yeah, we got only one super chat today. I don't blame you guys. Feeling hopeless right now. Give us 3 reasons how Denver can win this series, y'all. My brother shouted at you near. Hey, was that you? You were telling us. I told you. Hey, yeah.
Eric was like, some asshole was just shouting.
D-line.
That's what I said. That's what I meant.
Scootering along. It's like a thing to be seen. It's like, you know, the Ducks. What is it? The Ducks in Memphis. You know, they come walking at a certain time of day. It's like Eric, because he should be scootering by any moment now.
It's true. Like Haley's comment. But also like you're like, wow, that's that looks weird. That guy on that vehicle. Oh, that's Eric.
That is Eric. So what are we supposed to tell him? 3 reasons.
To say.
I mean, they got to get more from Michael Porter. They got to get better defense. I mean, look, you're not going to win too many games when you give up 123. You might outgun them once or twice in the series. You're not going to outgun them 4 times like that. You got to get some defense into the game, and then you got to find a guy to step up. You know, somebody else to step up. Right tonight, if you talked about the 2 X factors that stepped up tonight, Carmelo Anthony Simons, both on Portland. You got to tilt that in the other way. Like, you could create this whole battleground that is Anthony Simons, Cantor, Nurkic, Melo, and then on the other side you got Rivers, you got Jamichael, you've got Paul Millsap. You know, you got all. It's like where's it going to come from? And
Golly,
tonight they both came from the other side.
And then one more reason, they've been down 3-1.
Yeah,
twice. So I to expect that again. No, they've been in worse holes. They've been in deeper holes.
And
you play a series one game at a time.
And they don't back down.
They don't back down, baby. That's right. It looks like we have Harrison Wind live from Ball Arena right now. Just got off the horn with Nikola Jokic. It looks like he did. Actually, I'm watching the Zoom, and Jokic is still talking. He just got up. So you missed the last comment he had there, Harrison.
Oh, boy.
But first, before we get into whatever was said tonight, Harrison, I got to ask you, just what was it like being at Ball Arena with this semi-full crowd?
It was awesome. It was incredible, man. I said this to a bunch of people before the game who I was sitting next to. Like, tonight felt like the first regular game that I've been to this season. It felt like a normal game. It really did, and it was awesome.
Do you feel like it was a factor?
Absolutely. I've got to think it helped Denver out a little bit. I just feel like you just get that jolt when you have that fan base behind you. I mean, the crowd was loud tonight. It was intense. They were loud from the opening tip. They were loud during the starting lineups. Like, it was a great atmosphere tonight.
Yeah. They were loud.
Oh, okay. All righty. Well, just give us your quick thoughts on the game, and what is your major takeaways?
So I felt like the game turned in the third when Dame really got going. He had 15 in the third, and it really seemed like to me that Portland came out at halftime with a really just defined game plan of, we're going to try to get Michael Porter Jr. switched on to Dame. And I felt he got going a little bit from that, and that kind of carried over into the fourth quarter. But my bigger takeaway is Portland shot 47.5% from three. If a team's going to shoot from three against Denver like that, I mean, I just don't know if the Nuggets have enough firepower to keep up with that. They got a great game from Nikola Jokic. Michael Porter went 1 of 10 from three, but he still scored 25 points. I don't know where the offensive firepower is going to come from.
Yeah. All right, well, take us in the locker room. How was Michael Malone after the game?
So he was disappointed. I don't think he was too down, though. I mean, it's just one game. That's kind of what a couple of the players said also, just one game. But he pretty much just said there were too many breakdowns. To win a playoff game, especially when you're undermanned, you have to be on point with everything. He didn't like their discipline. He didn't like how they guarded their personnel. And he didn't like the runs that Portland went on in the first, and then the one I just talked about in the third. He felt like those were huge. So just too many breakdowns, he thought, and he felt like a lot of those led to Portland threes.
Yeah, for sure. What else? Was there anybody in particular he sort of pointed out tonight, either good or bad?
So as I was kind of talking about, I felt like the game turned when Portland tried to get MPJ switched onto Lillard.
Yeah.
Malone referenced that, and he said, and this I thought was pretty candid from him, he said it felt like last year in the playoffs. And I mean, that's really what it felt like to me. So they've got to find, a way to counter that or whatever, not switch it. I don't really know. But he did reference Porter and just a need to help Michael out more in those situations.
Okay. That's interesting. I mean, this is why the playoffs are so funny is like teams have not gone at Porter for extended periods, and they really did tonight. And again, okay job, but it did turn the game. The game kind of turned at that. All right, what else from Malone?
So I don't think this was like a huge thing in the game, but Marcus Howard played tonight, and that was surprising to me. I thought like Shaq Harrison would be the choice there. And on playing Marcus Howard, he pretty much just said, look, we're down so many offensive options. We needed a guy who could bring some offense to the table. That's not Shaq Harrison. That's Marcus Howard, so that's why he was in the rotation tonight.
I didn't hear that.
I'm laughing because as you lean forward, your hair appears green.
Oh, I
know. And it's really,
can you turn the monitor
it's really caught the chat off guard. Hashtag green hair Adam.
It's like the lighting. There's the weird lighting in here that makes my hair green. All righty, we're all the way up. All right, what else, Harrison? Keep going, brother.
So we talked to MPJ tonight also, who was very short, very sweet, very to the point. He just said his...
Oh, how sweet of him.
Maybe not so sweet, actually.
Okay.
Maybe not so sweet. But he just pretty much said his shots weren't dropping. He liked the looks he got, but he went 1 of 10 from 3. And he's going to keep shooting, and I bet he's not going to go 1 of 10 from 3 again.
Yeah. Okay, what else do you have? Would he talk about them going at him?
He was asked about it. He didn't really say much. He just said, you just got to keep playing hard. You just got to kind of turn Dame into a driver instead of a three-point shooter. And he just kind of came back to the point that it's just one game. We're down 1-0. We're good. We'll regroup tomorrow, try to get it on Monday.
Okay. All righty. Anything else from him?
That's really it. We also spoke to Nikola, as you were saying. On Portland's threes, he's just saying, like, we need to fly around more. They're going to get those shots. Those are the types of shots they need to get. We need more multiple effort. We need just to contest more shots. And he also said we got to be more consistent. You know, they went on a lot of runs, but we went on runs too. We can't be so high and so low. We just need to be more, like, consistent. And on Mike, he said he'll keep shooting. Mike's one of the best shooters in the league. We just need him to make and take the easy ones, not the contested ones.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay.
Let's see what else we got here.
Anything from Aaron Gordon?
I didn't hear much of Aaron Gordon. He did bring up the officiating, though. He was like, I'm not sure what was going on with the foul calls. I thought I got fouled a couple times where it didn't get called. Nuggets only went to the line 8 times tonight.
Yeah.
8 times.
Yeah, that's not gonna change.
Yeah. That's really all I got, to be honest, guys.
That was it?
Yep.
Really, really short, it sounds like, short post-game commentary from the team, which is surprising. I almost feel like they are more forthcoming even in the regular season, and I'm sure this one, it's tough. I'm sure emotions are very high, and I'm curious to kind of see. Did anybody say what the plan was for tomorrow, Harrison?
In terms of
practice, are they practicing?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I assume they'll, look at film. I doubt they'll go through like a super tough practice because they just don't, they can't afford any injuries.
Yeah. How discouraged are you personally after watching this game? Like, what's sort of your overarching read on this series now?
I don't think any different. I still think Denver can win this series. I still think it's going to be a long series, like I thought at the beginning when I picked Nuggets in 7. I mean, Portland played well tonight, I thought. They hit their threes. They got the types of shots they wanted to. Maybe if they shoot 38% from 3, Denver's in this.
Yeah.
And also, Michael Porter shot 1 of 10 from 3. There's a lot being made of Nikola Jokic only recording 1 assist tonight. That's the narrative coming out of this game from Portland's side, at least. Oh, we cracked the Nuggets because we held Nikola Jokic to 1 assist. It's the right game plan. You don't want to double him. They really never doubled him tonight except once super late because the Nuggets just don't have the shooters, So I think it was a good game plan from Portland, but I still think it's a series Denver can win.
Yeah. All righty. Well, Harrison, thanks. He's gone.
I actually want to piggyback really quick off something he said.
Okay.
So that as we touched on, Wynn's got places to be. It's an engaged man. The 19 made threes were the most by the Blazers in any playoff game of the Damian Lillard era, as we talked about. I'm reading a tweet from Bronco Squatch, by the way. Shout out Jake. But also, Portland's 6 turnovers tonight were the second fewest by the Blazers in any playoff game in Damian Lillard era. That's 57 games. So the process wasn't great, but this was the buzzsaw game that was an A+ game from Portland, and maybe they got to do that 3 more times.
Yeah. Any parting thoughts before we get out of here?
I just feel like we lose game 1, the Nuggets are a team that bounces back. Like, everybody knows that. This is the most resilient bunch in the entire NBA. They played a game where they just, like, seen what would happen, and there's going to be changes made. And also, we just know what MVP is going to do in the next game. And we know what Michael Porter Jr. is going to do in the next game. And as long as you have those two guys, I feel like you always have a chance. So, Nuggets in 5. No, I'm joking on that part.
Tonight was frustrating. Things really went well for Portland in a lot of ways. You can really just kind of look to regression to the mean stuff. Like, they're not going to shoot 50% from 3-point. It's just not going to happen. Obviously they have transcendent shooters on that team. Dame's always going to be a problem. He was again tonight, but like, there were just a few moments, there were adjustments that could be made that would have swung this game the other direction. The Nuggets were in control, and then they just had lapses. Yeah. And it's like, I really didn't believe that we were going to cough this game up until I was absolutely forced to do it. Like, I believe so much in this team. I've seen this play out literally every playoff game and every playoff series they've been a part of in this modern era. They lose the first game. It's what they do. I don't know why that's what they do, but that's what they do.
You know what else they won't do? Back down. So we shouldn't either. We'll be here Monday.
I'm real curious to see. Monday. It's Monday. Yeah, it's Monday's game. I'm really curious to see how this team bounce back. The playoffs are wild. You could cue up that outro music, Kill, and the playoffs are so wild, man, because your emotions, like tonight, I was as happy as I've been in a long time and as sad as I've been in a long time. And that's the beauty of sports, but it's also the pain of sports. We got the pain tonight, baby.
That's what sports is. Like, if this pill wasn't so bitter, that first off, the press conference would have been so sweet, but also the wins would not be so
That's
sweet.
so true. Hat tip to Portland. Good game. Good game, Blazers. See you Monday.
Baby.
Everybody else, hit that like button on the way out. Come down to the DNVR bar for Monday's game, guys. Probably be a little bit less packed, I'm guessing. I don't know, but I'm telling you, it's a fun place to be. Hit the like button. We'll see everybody next time.
We don't back down.